going on, everyone? Sean with Triangle of Truth here, back with another video. So this past week I was finally able to go to our local comic book shop, and they were doing some customer service curbside and whatnot. And the benefits, of course, of building relationships with them is, sometimes you just want to go in there and try to look for new stuff and whatnot. And then the one thing that's the most beneficial about where we go is that they are the most helpful staff in the world and can give you recommendations just based on maybe just something that you said, or if you just really want something different, they'll share maybe something that they're interested in to get you in. And basically what I had decided to do was, because of the recent announcement that Boom Studios and Netflix had inked a deal for a partnership, I realized that outside of a couple of things, especially mainly Power Rangers, there was not a whole lot of Boom Studio stuff that I had read or that I even really own yet. So I had a list of a couple in mind, and then I told them, I said, with the rest, just pick random things, some, what are considered some of the top titles, and, I'll take them and I'll read them. So I figured that would lead to a really good Hall of Comics video that we have here. And so I'm going to share all of this in the Boom Studios edition of Hall of Comics. So the first one I'm going to show you is one that I saw consistently people recently talk about with Boom Studios as being one of the top reads and series they've got going on. And that is Once and Future. And this was one that literally I saw people going, yeah, this is one of the best ones if you're going to try and get into a series with Boom. This is a must read, and I mean literally consistently right up at the top. So was able to get a #1 of that, and definitely look forward to checking it out. And then the next few are ones that were just picks from them. So I really don't know anything about them, but I am extremely excited to read them, because a lot of times what I'll do is, I'll run through, just grab things, if a cover looks good, and random reads turn out being some of my absolute favorite stories, of all time. Great example being God Country. Absolutely a top 3 all-timer for me. And that was one that I just happened to look, and I was like, it seems kind of cool. Read a brief description on the back of the trade, and lo and behold, here we are 2-3 years later, still one of the best stories ever. So with that said, sorry I rambled a little bit. The next one is called Folklords. Not really sure what to think of it, other than the time period that it looks to be set in. So hopefully it ends up being a good one. This next one, I'm actually kind of really excited to read, because the cover looks really cool, title, and that is called Weavers. Apparently part of a 6-issue series that, usually will lead to some really good stuff. You get one-shot stories like this, and a lot of times I found that those end up being some of my favorites, because they have to pack so much into so little, whereas some of these other ones that are multiple trades, it gets a little more drawn out. But there are some of those that I still like. So I hopefully this one will be good, and then I will try to get the last 5 issues to read the whole thing. The next one is another miniseries, looks like a 4-part, and it is called Black Market. Again, I'm hoping that this will be a really cool read, one that maybe eventually I'll get the trade to, provided that all 4 issues are actually out. Once I know, I will definitely, if it's good, I'll probably do a review on it soon. And then the last of my single issues, again, is one, it's called Cognetic. This one looks to be, it's another miniseries again, so it's a 1 of 3. And the book itself is actually pretty thick, so I imagine that these are going to be some fairly inclusive and explosive issues, because you're trying to fit this much into 3 issues. You've got a lot of things that you want to tell, or you're going to stick a lot of action into a very short thing, and that can be good, especially for someone who's, if you want to read a story to kind of get your mind off of what's going on here in the world. That's definitely the kind of story. The very last one was one that was kind of top on the list that I gave them that I wanted, and we were actually able to find a trade. I was really happy about that, and that is called Lucas Stand. And when I read kind of what this character is about, I immediately thought, I was like, that could be really interesting to read some of the stories. So I really, I told them, I was like, in issue 1 it'd be just fine, but they were able to find a trade, and I said, by all means, I'll take the whole thing and whatnot. So this is the one that I'm probably the most excited to read, and we'll most likely do a review on whether I like it or not, just so that I can share my experience with you. Let me know in the comments, are there other Boom titles that you think I should read? Recently I've read, Something is Killing the Children, Volume 1, and then I have issue 6, and have added that to my pull box. That, to me, is one of the best stories going in comics right now. And then, of course, I also grabbed recently the entire Shattered Grid Power Rangers comic, so I'm really excited to read that. But if there are any other really good Boom titles, let me know in the comments. I'll more than happy to look them up and give them a read, because one of the best things that I've decided to do this year is to try and read different kinds of comics that I wouldn't normally read before. Anyways, that's all I've got for this week, guys. I'll catch you next time. Later.